I remember the exact weight of the pen in my hand. It was heavier than it should have been. Or maybe that was just my imagination. The way your mind plays tricks on you when you know you're about to sign away more than just your name on a piece of paper. The conference room was cold, sterile, all glass and chrome, and the kind of silence that makes your heartbeat sound like thunder in your ears. Marcus, my agent, sat beside me with that smile he always wore. The one that looked warm but never quite reached his eyes. He'd been with me since I was nobody, since I was playing in dingy gyms in front of 50 people who came for the hot dogs more than the game. He found me when I was broken, when my mother was sick and the medical bills were piling up faster than I could count them, when I was one bad ankle sprain away from giving up basketball forever and taking a job at the warehouse where my uncle worked. Marcus promised me the world. And now, sitting in this room with lawyers I didn't know and executives in suits that cost more than my entire wardrobe, it looked like he'd delivered. $80 million over 5 years. I'd never seen a number that big outside of a calculator. Hell, I'd never even imagined it. Growing up, we counted pennies. We turned off lights to save on electricity. My mom worked double shifts at the hospital just so I could have new sneakers once a year. And now they were offering me enough money to buy her a house, to pay off every debt, to never worry about anything ever again. The team president, a gray-haired man named Richard Caldwell, leaned forward. His cologne was expensive, overpowering. Everything about him screamed money and power. "We're thrilled to have you join the organization," he said, his voice smooth like oil on water. "You're going to be the face of this franchise, the future. We believe in you." I believed him because I wanted to, because I needed to. Marcus squeezed my shoulder. "This is it, kid. Everything we worked for. Sign it, and your life changes forever." I looked down at the contract. Pages and pages of legal language I didn't understand. Marcus had explained the basics, the salary breakdown, the performance bonuses, the endorsement clauses. But there were sections he'd skipped over, parts he said weren't important, technical jargon that didn't matter as long as I showed up and played ball. I should have read every word. I should have hired my own lawyer. I should have listened to that small voice in the back of my head that whispered, "Slow down. Think about this. Make sure you understand what you're getting into." But I didn't. I was 23 years old, broke, desperate, and staring at salvation printed on expensive paper. So I signed. The moment the pen left the page, the room erupted. Handshakes, congratulations, champagne that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Marcus pulled me into a hug, his cologne mixing with the champagne smell, his laugh loud and triumphant. "You did it," he whispered in my ear. "You're set for life." Richard Caldwell raised his glass. "To our newest star. Welcome to the family." Family. The word should have felt warm. Instead, it felt like a weight settling on my chest. They took photos. They had me hold up a jersey with my name on the back, number 7, my lucky number. The cameras flashed and I smiled because that's what you do when you've just signed an $80 million contract. You smile and you say thank you, and you pretend like you're not terrified that you're going to wake up and realize it was all a dream. But it wasn't a dream. It was real. Too real. The celebration lasted an hour before Marcus pulled me aside, his hand firm on my elbow, guiding me toward the door with the practiced efficiency of someone who'd done this before. "We need to talk," he said, his smile finally fading into something more serious. "There are some things we need to handle now that the contract is signed." "What things?" We walked down a hallway lined with photos of past players, legends who'd worn this team's colors, men who'd become icons. I wondered if my photo would ever hang on these walls, or if I'd just be another name forgotten after a few seasons. Marcus led me into a smaller office, just the two of us. He closed the door, and the celebration noise faded into distant murmur. "First thing," he said, sitting on the edge of the desk like he owned it, "we need to talk about your image. You're not the underdog anymore. You're a millionaire. That means people are going to watch everything you do. Where you go, who you're with, what you say. We need to be smart about this. I'm just going to play basketball." He laughed, but it wasn't friendly. "It's not that simple anymore. You've got endorsement deals coming, appearance fees, social media presence to manage. I've already got meetings set up with 3 companies who want to put you in their commercials, but we need to clean up your image first." "Clean up? What does that mean?" It means no more hanging out with your old friends from the neighborhood. No more posting photos from dive bars. No more of that humble, struggling player act. You're a star now. You need to look like one. I felt something twist in my stomach. Those people are my friends. They've been with me since the beginning. And they'll drag you down if you let them. Marcus's voice was cold now, businesslike. Trust me, I've seen it happen 100 times. Player gets money, old friends come out of the woodwork asking for handouts, getting him into trouble, making him look bad. You want to help them? The best thing you can do is distance yourself and send them a check if they need it. That's not who I am. Then change who you are. He stood up, straightening his tie. You signed that contract. You took their money. Now you belong to them, to this organization, to this image we're building. You don't get to be the broke kid from the streets anymore. That story is over. I wanted to argue, to tell him he was wrong, that money didn't change who I was. But I didn't say anything because part of me wondered if he was right. Part of me was already thinking about the mansion I could buy, the cars, the life I'd only seen in movies and music videos. There's something else, Marcus said, pulling out his phone. I've set up some investments for you. Smart money, safe returns. There's a real estate deal I need you to wire $2 million into by the end of the week. And there's a business opportunity with some partners of mine. Very exclusive, very lucrative. I need another $3 million for that. $5 million. Just like that. Casual. Like he was asking me to pick up coffee. I haven't even seen the money yet. It'll be in your account tomorrow. And we need to move fast on these opportunities. They won't wait. Can I see the details? Talk to a financial advisor or something? Marcus's expression hardened. I am your financial advisor. I've been managing deals like this for 20 years. You don't trust me? The question hung in the air like a trap. I trust you, I said, even though something in my gut was screaming at me to slow down, to ask more questions, to not just hand over millions of dollars because someone told me to. But Marcus had been there when no one else was. He'd believed in me when scouts passed me over, when coaches told me I was too small, too slow, not good enough. He'd fought for this contract, negotiated these numbers, made this dream possible. So I pushed down the doubt and told myself he knew what he was doing. Good, Marcus said, his smile returning. I'll send you the wire instructions tonight. Just a formality. By this time next year, those $5 million will be worth 20. You'll thank me. He left the office and I stood there alone, surrounded by photos of legends I'd never be, holding a contract I hadn't fully read, committed to deals I didn't understand. My phone buzzed. A text from my mom. Did you sign it? Are you okay? I stared at the message for a long time before typing back. Yeah, Mom. I signed it. Everything's going to be okay now. I almost believed it. The first week after signing the contract felt like living in someone else's life. The money hit my account on a Tuesday morning. I checked my banking app 3 times to make sure it was real, that those zeros weren't a mistake. When I finally accepted it was actually there, I just sat on the edge of my bed in my tiny apartment and stared at the screen until my eyes hurt. I called my mom first. It's done, I told her. The money's here. I'm buying you a house, a real one. Whatever you want, she cried. I heard it in the silence between her words, the way her voice cracked when she tried to thank me. I'm so proud of you, she said. But please, baby, be careful. Money changes things, changes people. I'll be careful, Mom. I promise. Another promise I couldn't keep. Marcus called an hour later with a list of things I needed to do. Wire the $5 million for the investments. Meet with a stylist to upgrade my wardrobe. Schedule a photo shoot for a sports magazine. Attend a charity gala that weekend, where I'd be introduced to the team's major sponsors. And one more thing, he added. There's someone who wants to see you. Who? Vanessa. The name hit me like a punch to the chest. Vanessa. My ex-girlfriend. The woman I'd loved with everything I had until she walked away 2 years ago because dating a broke basketball player with no future wasn't part of her plan. She'd told me she needed stability, security, someone who could give her the life she deserved. I wasn't that person then, but I guess I was now. How does she even know about the contract? Marcus laughed. Everyone knows. It's been all over the news. You're famous now. Get used to it. I don't want to see her. She's at the hotel bar downstairs. Room 412, Tower Suites. She said she just wants to talk, to congratulate you. Come on, man. Don't be bitter. You won. She's probably just trying to reconnect. I should have said no. I should have blocked her number, deleted her from my life, moved on like she did when I had nothing. But I didn't, because part of me wanted her to see what she'd walked away from. Part of me wanted to prove that I was worth something, that she'd made a mistake. So I went. The hotel was the kind of place I used to walk past and wonder what it was like inside. Now I had a suite on the top floor, all floor-to-ceiling windows and marble countertops, and a view of the city that made me feel like I was standing on top of the world. Vanessa was waiting in the bar, sitting in a corner booth wearing a black dress that probably cost more than my old car. She looked the same, beautiful, perfect, cold. She smiled when she saw me, stood up, kissed my cheek like we were old friends. "Look at you," she said, her eyes scanning me like I was a piece of art she was appraising. "A millionaire! I always knew you had it in you." Liar. "What do you want, Vanessa?" She laughed, light and airy like I'd just told a joke. "Can't I just be happy for you? Congratulate you? You could have called. I wanted to see you in person." She reached across the table, her hand resting on mine. Her skin was soft, familiar. "I've missed you. You left me. I made a mistake." Her eyes locked onto mine, and for a moment I almost believed her. "I was scared. You were struggling, and I didn't know how to handle it. But I never stopped thinking about you. Never stopped wondering what we could have been." "What we could have been? You mean what I could buy you now that I have money?" Her expression flickered, just for a second, before the smile returned. "That's not fair. I'm not here for your money." "Then why are you here?" She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Because I realized I never stopped loving you, and I think you still love me too." I wanted to tell her she was wrong. I wanted to walk away, to leave her sitting there with her expensive dress and her empty words. But I didn't. Because the truth was, part of me did still love her. Or maybe I just loved the memory of who I thought she was, back when love felt simple and money didn't matter. "I need time," I said finally. "Take all the time you need." She squeezed my hand. "I'm not going anywhere." Another lie I chose to believe. I left the bar feeling like I'd just made a deal with the devil and didn't know the price yet. My phone buzzed again. Marcus. "Did you wire the money?" I hadn't. I'd been so distracted by Vanessa, by the weight of everything happening too fast, that I'd completely forgotten. "I'll do it tonight." "Do it now. The deal closes tomorrow morning. If we miss this window, we lose everything." I pulled up the banking app, found the wire instructions Marcus had sent, stared at the numbers. $5 million, to an account I didn't recognize, for a deal I knew nothing about. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the confirm button. "You still there?" Marcus's voice was sharp now, impatient. "Yeah, I'm here." "Then send it. Trust me." Trust. That word again. I pressed confirm. The money disappeared from my account in an instant, gone into some invisible void I couldn't see or touch or understand. "Done," I said. "Good. Now get some rest. Big day tomorrow. Press conference at noon. The world wants to meet their new star." He hung up. I stood there in the middle of my hotel suite, surrounded by luxury I didn't feel, staring out at a city that suddenly felt too big, too bright, too loud. And for the first time since signing that contract, I realized Marcus was right about one thing. My life had changed forever. I just didn't know yet how much I'd lose in the process. The press conference was a circus. I stood backstage, wearing a suit that cost $6,000, feeling like a kid playing dress-up in his father's clothes. Marcus was beside me, adjusting my tie for the third time, whispering last-minute instructions in my ear like a coach before the championship game. "Smile. Be humble but confident. Thank the organization. Thank your family. Don't mention money. Don't get political. Keep it simple. I know how to talk to people. Not like this, you don't." He stepped back, examining me like I was a product he was about to sell. "You're not just a player anymore. You're a brand. Everything you say from this moment on is part of that brand. Understand?" I nodded because arguing would have been pointless. The media coordinator, a woman named Angela with a clipboard and a permanent look of stress on her face, poked her head through the curtain. 2 minutes. "You ready?" "No." "Yeah, I'm ready." Marcus gave me one final pat on the shoulder, his grip tight enough to hurt. "Remember, you're living the dream. Act like it." Then they pushed me through the curtain and into the lights. The room was packed, cameras everywhere, flashing like lightning. Reporters sitting in rows, their faces a blur of expectation and judgment. The team executives sat at a long table, Richard Caldwell front and center, that same oiled smile on his face. I took my seat at the microphone, and the noise in the room dimmed to a dull roar before falling into silence. Caldwell spoke first, his voice booming through the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. It is my great pleasure to introduce you to the newest member of our family, the player we believe will lead us to championship glory. Please welcome number 7. Applause. Loud, mechanical, obligatory. I leaned into the microphone, my mouth suddenly dry. Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Thank you to the entire organization for believing in me. This is a dream come true, and I'm just grateful to be here, ready to work hard and bring a championship to this city." The words felt hollow coming out of my mouth, scripted, rehearsed, not mine. But the reporters ate it up, their pens scribbling, cameras clicking. Then came the questions. A reporter in the front row, a woman with sharp eyes and a sharper smile, raised her hand first. "Your contract is one of the largest in franchise history. Do you feel pressure to live up to that number?" I glanced at Marcus, who nodded slightly from the side of the room. "I don't think about the money," I lied. "I think about winning. That's all that matters." Another reporter, older, gray-haired, skeptical. "You've played in obscurity for most of your career. Some analysts say you're unproven at this level. How do you respond to critics who say the team overpaid?" The question stung, but I kept my face neutral. "I respect everyone's opinion, but I didn't come here to prove critics wrong. I came here to prove myself right, to show that hard work and dedication matter more than hype." The room murmured approval. I was saying the right things, playing the part. Then a voice cut through from the back of the room, sharp and cutting. "Is it true you've already moved $5 million into offshore investments?" The room went silent. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. How did they know that? I looked at Marcus. His face was stone, unreadable. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said, my voice steady even though my hands were shaking under the table. The reporter, a younger guy with a laptop and a hungry look in his eyes, pressed on. "Sources say your agent has you involved in several high-risk financial ventures. Care to comment?" "My financial decisions are private," I said, more forcefully now. "Next question." But the damage was done. I could see it in the way the other reporters leaned forward, their interest sharpened. I'd just become more than a feel-good story. I'd become a scandal. Caldwell stepped in, his voice smooth as ever. "I think we'll wrap this up. Thank you all for coming. Our new star has a lot of work to do, and we're excited to get started." The applause was quieter this time, more hesitant. I stood up, forced another smile, and walked off the stage with Marcus's hand on my back, guiding me away from the cameras, away from the questions, away from the truth I didn't even fully understand yet. "What the hell was that?" I hissed once we were in the hallway, away from the noise. Marcus's jaw was tight. "A leak. Someone inside the organization talked." "Talked about what?" "I didn't do anything wrong." "You didn't, but perception is everything. That reporter just planted a seed of doubt. Now every journalist is going to dig into your finances, looking for a story." "Then let them dig. I've got nothing to hide." Marcus stopped walking, turned to face me, his eyes cold. "Everyone has something to hide, and if they look hard enough, they'll find it, or make it up. Doesn't matter which. So what do? We control the narrative." He pulled out his phone, already typing. "I'll call in some favors, get friendly reporters to write counterpieces, paint you as the victim of jealousy, of people trying to tear down a young player's success. It'll blow over in a week." "Will it?" He didn't answer, just kept typing. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe this was just noise, just part of the game, something every player dealt with. But deep down, I knew this was different. This was my life spiraling in a direction I couldn't control. That night, I went back to my hotel suite and tried to disappear into the silence. But the silence was too loud. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Texts from people I hadn't heard from in years. Suddenly my best friends congratulating me, asking to meet up, hinting at loans and business opportunities and favors they needed. I turned it off after the 50th message, threw it on the couch, and poured myself a drink from the minibar. I wasn't much of a drinker, never had been. But tonight I needed something to dull the noise in my head. There was a knock at the door. I ignored it. Another knock, more insistent. "It's me, Vanessa." I opened the door and she walked in without waiting for an invitation, her heels clicking against the marble floor, her perfume filling the room. "I saw the press conference," she said, pouring herself a drink like she lived here. "That reporter was out of line. How did you even get up here?" She smiled, that same smile that used to make me forget everything else. "I told security I was your girlfriend. They didn't question it." "You're not my girlfriend." "Not yet." She sat on the couch, crossing her legs, looking at me like I was a puzzle she was trying to solve. "But I could be, if you let me." "Why would I do that?" "Because you're lonely. Because you don't trust anyone in this new world you're living in. Because I know you, the real you, before all of this. You left me, and I came back." She patted the seat next to her. "Sit down. Stop being so defensive." I sat because I was tired of fighting, tired of pretending I had everything under control. She moved closer, her hand resting on my knee. "I know what you're going through. The pressure, the scrutiny, everyone wanting a piece of you. It's overwhelming. You don't know anything about it. I know more than you think." Her voice softened. "I've been around wealth my whole life. I know how to navigate it, how to protect yourself, how to spot the people who are using you. Like you." She didn't flinch. "I'm not using you. I'm offering to help you, to be by your side. You need someone you can trust." "I barely trust myself right now." "Then trust me." I looked at her, really looked at her, searching for something real behind the perfect makeup and the designer clothes and the calculated words. I didn't find it, but I wanted to, so I kissed her. It was a mistake. I knew it even as it was happening. But I was drowning, and she was the only thing that felt familiar, the only piece of my old life that hadn't been completely swallowed by this new one. She kissed me back, her hands in my hair, her body pressed against mine, whispering things that sounded like love but tasted like lies. When it was over, she stayed, curled up beside me in the massive bed, her head on my chest, her breathing slow and steady. I stared at the ceiling, wide awake, feeling more alone than I'd ever felt in my life. My phone buzzed from the couch. I'd forgotten I turned it off. I got up carefully, not wanting to wake her, and checked the screen. 20 missed calls from Marcus, 15 from my mom, and one text from a number I didn't recognize. "You need to see this." There was a link attached. I clicked it. The article loaded slowly, the headline appearing one word at a time like a death sentence. "New star player linked to shady offshore accounts. Agent under investigation for fraud." My blood went cold. I scrolled down, reading fragments that didn't make sense. Names of companies I'd never heard of, accusations of money laundering, tax evasion, illegal investments, and my name, right there in the middle of it all. I called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. "I know," he said before I could speak. "I'm handling it." "Handling it? They're saying I'm involved in fraud." "You're not involved in anything. I am, and it's all legal, I promise you. This is just a hit piece, a competitor trying to sabotage us. I'll have my lawyers shut it down by morning." "This is insane. I didn't sign up for this." "You signed the contract," Marcus said, his voice hard now. "You took the money. You trusted me with your investments. That means you're part of this whether you like it or not. But I'm going to fix it. Just stay quiet, don't talk to any reporters, and let me handle this." He hung up. I stood there in the dark, the city lights glowing through the windows, Vanessa asleep in my bed, my world collapsing around me faster than I could process. I thought about calling my mom, telling her everything, asking her what to do, but I couldn't, because she'd warned me. She'd told me to be careful, to not let money change me, and I'd ignored her. I sat on the edge of the couch, my head in my hands, trying to figure out how everything had gone so wrong so fast. 24 hours ago, I was on top of the world. Now I was free-falling with no idea where the bottom was. The week that followed was a blur of chaos. The article exploded. It was picked up by every major sports network, every gossip site, every social media platform. My name was everywhere, always attached to words like fraud, scandal, investigation. The team released a statement saying they were monitoring the situation but had full confidence in my character. It was corporate speak for we're covering our asses until we know if this will blow over or destroy you. Marcus hired a PR firm, an expensive one, to manage the damage. They put me in front of cameras for carefully staged interviews where I denied everything, claimed ignorance, painted myself as a victim of my agent's poor judgment. It worked, sort of. Public opinion was split. Half the people believed I was innocent, just a kid who'd been taken advantage of. The other half thought I was guilty, complicit, a spoiled athlete who thought he was above the law. I couldn't win either way. My teammates didn't help. They were polite in practice, professional, but there was a distance now. I could see it in their eyes, the way they whispered when I walked into the locker room, the way they avoided sitting next to me on the bus. I was toxic. The veteran point guard, a guy named Terrell who'd been in the league 15 years, pulled me aside after practice one day. "Look, kid," he said, his voice low so no one else could hear. "I don't know what's true and what's not, but you need to understand something. This team was together before you got here. We had chemistry, trust. Now all anyone talks about is your contract, your scandal, your drama. It's a distraction. I didn't ask for any of this. Doesn't matter. You brought it. And until it goes away, you're on your own." He walked off, leaving me standing there in the empty locker room, staring at my name on the wall, wondering if it would ever feel like it belonged. That night I called my mom. She answered on the third ring, her voice tired. "Baby, Mom, I've been watching the news. Are you okay?" I wanted to lie. I wanted to tell her everything was fine, under control, nothing to worry about, but I couldn't. "No," I said, my voice breaking. "I'm not okay." She didn't say anything for a long moment. I could hear her breathing, steady and calm, the way she used to breathe when I was a kid and had nightmares, and she'd sit on the edge of my bed until I fell back asleep. "Come home," she said finally. "I can't. I have practice, games, obligations. I don't care. Come home, just for a night. You need to remember who you are before all this." "I don't know who I am anymore." "Then let me remind you." I wanted to. God, I wanted to get on a plane, go back to the tiny house where I grew up, sit at the kitchen table with my mom and pretend like none of this had happened. But I couldn't, because Marcus was right. I'd signed the contract. I'd taken the money. I'd made commitments I couldn't walk away from. "I'll come soon," I told her. "I promise." Another promise I couldn't keep. "I love you," she said. "I love you too, Mom." I hung up and sat in the silence of my hotel suite, surrounded by luxury that felt more like a prison with every passing day. Vanessa was there, like she always was now. She'd practically moved in, her clothes in the closet, her makeup on the bathroom counter, her presence filling every corner of my life. She walked out of the bedroom wearing one of my shirts, looking comfortable and beautiful and wrong. "Who was that?" she asked. "My mom. How is she?" "Worried." Vanessa sat beside me, her hand on my thigh. "You should bring her out here. Buy her a house in the city. She'd love it. She doesn't want a house in the city. She wants me to come home. You can't. You have responsibilities." "To who? The team? Marcus? You?" She pulled back, her expression cooling. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means everyone wants something from me. Everyone has an agenda. And I'm starting to think you do too. That's not fair. Isn't it? You left me when I had nothing. Now I have money and suddenly you can't stay away. What am I supposed to think?" Her eyes flashed with something, anger or hurt. I couldn't tell. "I told you I made a mistake. I told you I came back because I love you. Do you? Or do you love what I can give you?" She stood up, crossing her arms. "If that's what you really think, then maybe I should leave." I didn't stop her. She grabbed her purse, her jacket, and walked toward the door, pausing with her hand on the handle. "You're pushing everyone away," she said, her voice quiet now. "Marcus, your teammates, me. At some point, you're going to realize you need people. And by then, it'll be too late." She left. The door closed behind her and I was alone again. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt hollow. My phone buzzed. Another article, another headline. "Millionaire players agent subpoenaed. Federal investigation underway." I didn't read it. I couldn't, because I already knew what it would say, that I was in trouble, that the money was dirty, that the dream I'd signed my name to was turning into a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. And the worst part? I had no idea how deep the hole went or how far I'd fall before I hit the bottom. The subpoena arrived on a Tuesday morning. I was eating breakfast alone in my suite, staring at highlights of last night's game on mute, when there was a knock at the door. Not the soft knock of hotel staff or the familiar rhythm of Marcus or Vanessa. This was official, cold, final. I opened the door to find 2 federal agents, badges already out, faces expressionless. "We need you to come with us," the taller one said. "You're not under arrest, but we have questions regarding your financial transactions with Marcus Webb." Marcus's full name sounded foreign, formal, like they were talking about a stranger and not the man who'd been managing my entire life for the past 3 years. "I want to call my lawyer," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "You can call from the office. This won't take long if you cooperate." Cooperate. The word felt like a threat disguised as a courtesy. They drove me downtown in an unmarked sedan, the city passing by in a blur of glass and steel, and people who had no idea their new basketball hero was being questioned by the FBI. The interrogation room was exactly like you'd see in movies. Gray walls, metal table, 2 chairs, and a mirror I knew was one-way glass. The agent sat across from me, folders thick with documents spread between us. "Do you know what these are?" the female agent asked, sliding a stack of papers toward me. I looked at them. Bank statements, wire transfers, LLC registrations, all with my name attached. Numbers I didn't recognize flowing into accounts I'd never opened. "No," I said honestly. "These are companies your agent registered in your name. Shell corporations used to move money offshore to avoid taxes, to hide assets from federal oversight." My stomach dropped. I didn't know about any of this. "You signed the documents." She flipped to a page, pointed to my signature. "That's your name, isn't it?" It was. My handwriting, my signature. But I didn't remember signing it. "Marcus had me sign a lot of paperwork," I said slowly, trying to piece together the moments, the rushed meetings, the stacks of documents he'd pushed in front of me with instructions to sign here, here, and here. He said it was standard stuff, legal protection, tax strategies, investment opportunities. "Did you read what you were signing?" He told me I didn't need to. "That he had lawyers review everything?" The male agent leaned forward. "Mr. Webb's lawyers are currently under investigation as well. They've been facilitating financial fraud for multiple clients, athletes like yourself who trusted them without asking questions. I'm not a criminal. We don't think you are. But ignorance isn't a defense. You benefited from these transactions. Money was moved, taxes were avoided, and your name is on everything." I felt the walls closing in. "What do I do?" "You cooperate. You tell us everything you know about Marcus Webb, his business dealings, his associates. You help us build a case, and we'll do what we can to minimize your exposure." Minimize, not eliminate, not protect, minimize. "I need a lawyer." They exchanged a glance. "That's your right. But understand this. We're going after Marcus either way. The question is whether you go down with him or you help us take him down." They let me leave an hour later with a card, a warning, and the suffocating weight of knowing I'd been played. I called Marcus the second I was outside. He didn't answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. Panic set in. I tried his office, his assistant, even his personal email. Nothing. He'd disappeared. I stood on the sidewalk, people rushing past me, the city moving at full speed while my world ground to a halt. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Stop calling. Lawyer up. Say nothing. You're on your own now, Marcus." The coward didn't even have the guts to tell me to my face. I wanted to scream, to throw my phone into traffic, to find Marcus and make him look me in the eye and explain how he'd destroyed my life. But I didn't. I just stood there, numb, watching the world move around me like I was a ghost. I hired a lawyer that afternoon. Not one of Marcus's people. Not someone from the team's legal department. I found the best criminal defense attorney in the city. A woman named Helen Carter who had a reputation for being ruthless and expensive. She didn't sugarcoat anything. "You're in serious trouble," she said, sitting across from me in her corner office, the city sprawling beneath us. "The feds have been building this case for months. Marcus Webb is the main target, but you're collateral damage. They'll use you to pressure him, or they'll use him to pressure you. Either way, you're caught in the middle. I didn't do anything wrong. You signed documents without reading them. You moved millions of dollars without understanding where it was going. Legally, that makes you complicit. Morally, it makes you naive. Neither is a good defense in federal court. So what do? We cooperate, selectively. We give them enough to show you're willing to help, but not so much that you incriminate yourself further. And we pray the prosecutor is more interested in Marcus than in making an example out of a young athlete. How much is this going to cost? She named a number that made my chest tighten. I just lost access to half my accounts because they're frozen in the investigation. Then sell something, a car, a watch, whatever. Because if you don't fight this properly, you'll lose everything anyway. I left her office feeling like I'd just traded one nightmare for another. The team wasn't much better. Richard Caldwell called me into his office the next day. No warm smile this time. No talk of family or future. "We need to discuss your situation," he said, his voice cold and businesslike. "I'm handling it." "Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're a liability. The media is destroying us. Sponsors are getting nervous. Fans are divided. We invested $80 million in you, and right now, you're giving us nothing but bad press." "I'm trying to play through this. Your numbers are down. Your focus is shot. The team chemistry is suffering because everyone's walking on eggshells around you. What do you want me to do? Quit?" He leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. "I want you to fix this. Get your legal situation resolved. Get your head right, and start playing like the player we paid for. Otherwise, we're going to have to explore our options." "What options?" "The contract has clauses." "Morality clauses? Conduct clauses? If you're found guilty of any illegal activity, we can void the deal. You'd owe us back every dollar you've already been paid." The room spun. "You can't be serious." "Read the contract. Your agent signed off on every word." Of course he did. I walked out of that office knowing I wasn't just fighting for my freedom or my reputation. I was fighting to not be buried in debt for the rest of my life. That night, I went to the arena early. I needed to be somewhere familiar, somewhere that felt like mine before everything fell apart. The court was empty, the lights dim, the silence almost sacred. I grabbed a ball and started shooting. Just me and the rim, and the sound of the ball swishing through the net. It was the only thing that made sense anymore, the only thing I could control. I don't know how long I was out there. An hour, maybe 2. Long enough for my legs to ache and my hands to blister and my mind to quiet down. Then I heard footsteps. I turned to see Terrell, the veteran point guard, walking toward me in street clothes, hands in his pockets. "Didn't expect to see anyone here," he said. "Yeah, well, nowhere else to go." He picked up a ball, took a shot from the three-point line. It rattled in. "You're going through hell," he said, not looking at me. "That's one way to put it. I've been in this league a long time. Seen a lot of guys go through stuff like this. Some make it out, most don't. Which one am I?" He finally looked at me. "That depends on you. You let this break you, or you fight back. I don't even know what I'm fighting anymore. The feds, the media, my own team. Then fight for yourself. Not the money, not the fame. Yourself, the guy who loved this game before any of this other stuff mattered." He took another shot. Swish. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I don't like seeing talent wasted. And because I know what it's like to feel like you're drowning and no one's throwing you a line." He tossed me the ball. "You're not alone, kid. You just gotta stop pushing everyone away." He left me there with those words hanging in the air. I took another shot. Missed. Took another. Missed again. But I kept shooting, because it was all I had left. The first game after everything exploded was the hardest night of my life. The arena was packed, but I could feel the energy. It wasn't excitement. It was curiosity, judgment, waiting to see if I'd crumble under the weight of it all. The boos started during warm-ups. Not from everyone, but enough to hear. Signs in the crowd. Some supporting me, most calling me a fraud, a thief, a disgrace. I tried to block it out, to focus on the game, but every time I touched the ball, the noise got louder. Terrell passed me the ball on the wing. I hesitated, just for a second, and my defender stole it, took it the other way for an easy layup. Coach called timeout, pulled me aside. "What's going on with you?" "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're playing scared. Get your head in the game or sit down." I nodded, but I couldn't get my head in the game. Every time I looked up, I saw faces, Marcus's face, telling me to trust him. Vanessa's face, asking what I could give her. The federal agents asking if I knew what I'd signed. My mom, asking me to come home. By halftime, we were down by 20. I'd missed every shot I'd taken, turned the ball over 3 times, and looked like I'd never played basketball in my life. In the locker room, nobody said anything to me. They just sat there staring at the floor, the silence louder than any criticism. Coach gave his speech, talked about effort and pride and fighting back. But when he looked at me, there was disappointment in his eyes. I played better in the second half. Not great, but better. We lost by 12. My stat line was brutal. 6 points, 8 turnovers, more lowlights than highlights. After the game, the media swarmed me. Questions about the loss, about my performance, about the investigation. I answered them robotically, repeating the same phrases my lawyer had coached me to say. I'm focused on basketball. The legal situation will resolve itself. I trust the process. Empty words. Meaningless. Safe. But they didn't protect me from the headlines the next morning. Overpaid and overrated. New star's disastrous debut. Fraud investigation takes toll on court performance. Did the team make the biggest mistake in franchise history? I read every single one. I don't know why. Maybe I was punishing myself. Maybe I thought if I felt enough pain, it would somehow make it stop. It didn't. Vanessa came back 3 days later. She showed up at my door with apologies and explanations, and that look she had, the one that made me want to believe her even when I knew I shouldn't. I'm sorry, she said. I shouldn't have left. You were right to question me, to protect yourself. But I'm not here for your money. I'm here because I care about you. Do you? Yes. She stepped closer, her hand on my chest. I know you don't trust anyone right now, and I don't blame you. But I'm not Marcus. I'm not the team. I'm not the media. I'm just someone who wants to be here for you. I wanted to tell her to leave. I wanted to close the door and be alone with my misery. But I didn't, because she was right about one thing. I didn't trust anyone, but I needed someone. So I let her stay, and that was my biggest mistake of all. The weeks that followed were a slow descent into chaos I couldn't control. Marcus was officially indicted. Fraud, tax evasion, money laundering. The list was long and damning. His face was all over the news, not as the successful agent who'd built careers, but as the criminal who'd destroyed them. My name was attached to every story, not as a victim, but as an accomplice, a co-conspirator, a fool who'd let greed blind him. My lawyer fought back, releasing statements, doing interviews, painting me as a naive young man who'd trusted the wrong person. It helped a little. Some people believed it. Most didn't. The frozen accounts stayed frozen. My cash flow dried up. I was still making money from the contract, but it wasn't enough to cover the legal fees, the lifestyle I'd built, the people who depended on me. I had to sell the car I'd bought my mom. She cried when I told her, not because she cared about the car, but because she knew what it meant, that I was drowning. Vanessa stayed, but her presence felt more like a weight than a comfort. She spent my money like it was hers, shopping trips and spa days and expensive dinners with friends I didn't know. When I confronted her, she turned it around. You said I could stay. You said you needed me. Now you're acting like I'm a burden. You're spending money I don't have. Then get more. You're a millionaire. Not anymore. She looked at me like I'd just told her the sun wasn't going to rise tomorrow. What do you mean? I mean, most of my money is tied up in legal fees and frozen accounts and bad investments I didn't even know I was making. I'm not the guy you think I am. Her expression shifted. Not anger, disappointment. Like I'd failed a test I didn't know I was taking. So what are you saying? That you're broke? I'm saying I'm barely holding on. She was quiet for a long time. Then she stood up, grabbed her purse, and walked toward the door. Where are you going? Somewhere that doesn't feel like it's sinking. She left, for real this time, and I was alone again. Sitting in a hotel suite I couldn't afford, wearing clothes I couldn't pay for, living a life that had become a prison. My phone rang. My mom. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Baby, come home, she said, her voice breaking. Please, just come home. And for the first time since I signed that contract, I realized she was right. I'd lost everything chasing a dream that was never mine. It was time to remember who I was before the money, before the fame, before the nightmare. It was time to go home. I didn't tell anyone I was going home. Not the team, not my lawyer, not the few people who still bothered to check on me. I just packed a bag in the middle of the night, called a car, and headed to the airport. The flight was short, but it felt like crossing into another world. From the glass towers and luxury hotels to the small town where I grew up, where the houses were close together and people knew your name and nobody cared how much money you had. My mom was waiting on the porch when the taxi pulled up. She didn't say anything, just opened her arms, and I walked into them like I was 10 years old again, like the world hadn't chewed me up and spit me out. She held me for a long time, long enough for the knot in my chest to loosen, for the noise in my head to quiet down, for me to remember what it felt like to be loved without condition. "Come inside," she said finally. I made dinner. The house was exactly how I remembered it. Small, warm, filled with the smell of home-cooked food and old memories. Photos on the walls of me as a kid, holding a basketball almost as big as I was, smiling like the world was full of possibilities. I sat at the kitchen table while she fixed me a plate. Chicken, rice, greens, simple, real. "You look tired," she said, sitting across from me. "I am. You look thin, too. You eating?" "Not really." She shook her head, that look of worry and love mixed together. "I've been watching the news, seeing what they're saying about you. It's not fair." "Maybe it is. Maybe I deserve it." "Don't talk like that." "Mom, I messed up. I trusted the wrong people. I signed things I shouldn't have. I let money change me." "Money didn't change. Fear did." She reached across the table, took my hand. "You were scared. Scared of being poor again. Scared of letting me down. Scared of losing what you'd worked so hard for. Fear makes us do stupid things." "I hurt people. I hurt you." "You didn't hurt me. You worried me. There's a difference." She squeezed my hand. "You're still my son. Still the boy who used to practice free throws in the driveway until the streetlights came on. Still the young man who cried when I got sick because he thought he was going to lose me. Money and fame and all that noise, it's not who you are. It's just what happened to you." I felt tears burning behind my eyes. I hadn't cried in months, maybe years. I'd buried everything under layers of pride and anger and the desperate need to appear strong. But sitting there in my mom's kitchen, I couldn't hold it anymore. I broke. She came around the table, held me while I cried, while I let out all the fear and shame and exhaustion I'd been carrying. "I don't know how to fix this," I said through the tears. "You don't fix it all at once. You fix it one piece at a time, and you start by remembering who you are." I stayed at my mom's house for 3 days. No phone calls, no internet, no connection to the world that had been suffocating me. Just me, my mom, and the quiet rhythm of a life that didn't revolve around money or fame or performance. We talked, really talked, about everything. About my childhood, about the dreams I used to have before they got tangled up in contracts and endorsements. About the mistakes I'd made, the people I'd let down, the man I wanted to be. "Do you still love basketball?" she asked on the second night, sitting on the porch as the sun set. "I don't know. It used to be everything. Now it just feels like another thing I'm failing at." "That's because you're playing for the wrong reasons. You're playing because you have to, because people expect you to, because you signed a contract. You're not playing because you love it." "How do I get that back?" "You stop trying to prove something to everyone else and start playing for yourself again." On the third day, I went to the old court where I'd learned to play. It was still there, cracked pavement and bent rims and faded lines. A group of kids were playing, teenagers, all hustle and energy and trash talk. I stood on the sideline and watched. Nobody recognized me, or if they did, they didn't care. I was just another guy watching a pickup game. One of the kids missed a shot and the ball rolled toward me. I picked it up, took a shot from where I was standing. Swish. The kids stopped, looked at me. "You got next?" one of them asked. I hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, I got next." We played for 2 hours. No referees, no coaches, no cameras. Just basketball. Pure, simple, fun. I forgot about the contract, the investigation, the headlines. I forgot about Marcus and Vanessa and the team executives who saw me as an investment gone bad. I just played. And somewhere in the middle of that game, running up and down that cracked court with kids who didn't care about my name or my money, I remembered why I'd fallen in love with basketball in the first place. It wasn't about the fame or the glory or the paycheck. It was about this: the competition, the sweat, the feeling of hitting a shot and hearing your teammates celebrate. It was about being part of something bigger than yourself. When the game ended, one of the kids came up to me. He was young, maybe 16, skinny and short and full of dreams. "You're pretty good," he said. "You play somewhere?" "Used to." "Why'd you stop?" I thought about the question. Really thought about it. I forgot why I started. He nodded like he understood. "You should play again. For real. You got something special." I didn't tell him who I was. I didn't need to. Because for the first time in months, I felt like I'd found a piece of myself I thought was gone forever. When I got back to my mom's house, I finally turned on my phone. 237 missed calls. Texts from my lawyer, the team, reporters, people I didn't even know, and one voicemail from Terrell. I listened to it. "Hey, kid, heard you disappeared. Don't blame you, but when you're ready to come back, come back. Not for them, for you. The team needs you, but more importantly, you need this. Basketball isn't your enemy. It's the only real thing you've got left. Don't let the noise make you forget that." He was right. I called Helen, my lawyer. "Where the hell have you been?" she said, her voice sharp. "Home. Clearing my head." "Well, clear it fast. We've got a hearing next week. The prosecutor wants to make a deal." "What kind of deal?" "You testify against Marcus, provide everything you know about his operations, and they'll drop the charges against you. You walk away clean. And Marcus goes to prison for a long time." I should have been relieved. This was the way out, the chance to save myself. But all I could think about was the man who'd been there when no one else was. The man who'd believed in me, fought for me, made this dream possible. The man who'd also betrayed me, lied to me, and destroyed my life. I need to think about it. There's nothing to think about. This is the best offer you're going to get. You turn it down, you go down with him. I said I need to think about it. I hung up. My mom was standing in the doorway listening. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I don't know." "Yes, you do. You're going to do the right thing. Not the easy thing. The right thing." "What if I don't know what that is?" She smiled, sad but certain. "Then you trust your gut. It's gotten you this far." That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in my old bed, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with the decision that would define the rest of my life. Testify against Marcus, save myself, and live with the guilt of knowing I'd sent him to prison, or stay silent, go down with him, and lose everything. Neither felt right, but one felt honest. I called Helen the next morning. "I'll testify," I said, "but on one condition." "What condition?" "I tell the truth, all of it. Not just what makes me look innocent. I signed those documents. I took that money. I didn't ask questions when I should have. I'm as guilty as he is, just in a different way, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise." She was quiet for a long time. "That's not how this works. You're supposed to minimize your involvement, paint yourself as a victim." "I'm not a victim. I'm someone who made bad choices because I was desperate and scared. And if I'm going to move forward, I need to own that. I need to take responsibility. You're making this harder than it needs to be." "Maybe, but it's the only way I can live with myself." She sighed. "Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you." I packed my bag and said goodbye to my mom the next morning. She hugged me tight, her voice soft in my ear. "You're going to be okay. Whatever happens, you're going to be okay." "How do you know?" "Because you're not running anymore. You're facing it. That's the hardest part." I kissed her forehead, climbed into the taxi, and watched the house disappear in the rearview mirror. I was going back. Not to the life I'd left, but to the life I was going to build, one truth at a time. The hearing was brutal. I sat in a federal courtroom under oath and told them everything. Every document I'd signed without reading. Every wire transfer I'd approved without understanding. Every warning sign I'd ignored because I wanted to believe Marcus had my best interests at heart. I didn't try to make myself look good. I didn't deflect or minimize or blame. I just told the truth. Marcus's lawyers tried to tear me apart. They painted me as a liar, a turncoat, someone trying to save his own skin by throwing his mentor under the bus. Maybe they were right, but I didn't flinch. When it was over, the prosecutor stood up and addressed the court. "Your Honor, in light of the defendant's full cooperation and candid testimony, The government moves to dismiss all charges against him. The judge looked at me, her expression unreadable. Young man, you made serious mistakes. You put your trust in the wrong person, and you didn't do your due diligence. But you've taken responsibility for your actions, and that counts for something. I'm granting the motion. You're free to go. The gavel came down. I walked out of that courtroom a free man, but I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. Outside, reporters swarmed me. Questions, cameras, microphones shoved in my face. How do you feel? Do you regret testifying against your agent? What's next for your career? I didn't answer any of them. I just kept walking until I reached the car waiting for me. Terrell was inside. Figured you could use a friendly face, he said. Thanks. We drove in silence for a while. Then he spoke. You did the right thing. Did I? I just ended a man's life. He ended his own life when he decided to steal from you and a dozen other players. You didn't do that. You just told the truth. It doesn't feel like enough. It never does, but it's a start. He glanced at me. So what now? You coming back to the team? I looked out the window at the city passing by. The same city I'd arrived in months ago, full of hope and excitement and dreams. Yeah, I said. I'm coming back, but not as the same person. Good, Terrell said, because that person didn't work. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. Not because everything was fixed, but because I finally had a chance to start over. And this time, I was going to do it right. Walking back into the locker room felt like stepping into a place I'd never been. The same walls, the same lockers, the same smell of sweat and leather and competition. But everything was different. I was different. My teammates looked up when I walked in. Some nodded, some didn't. The silence was heavy, uncertain, like nobody knew what to say to the guy who'd been all over the news for months, who'd testified against his own agent, who'd become a cautionary tale. Terrell broke the silence first. Good to have you back, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. A few others echoed him, not enthusiastically, but it was something. I went to my locker, sat down, and started lacing up my shoes. The simple act felt grounding, familiar, real. Coach walked in, clipboard in hand, whistle around his neck. He looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. Glad you're here, we've got work to do. No lecture, no speech, no questions about where I'd been or what I'd been through. Just basketball. That's all I needed. Practice was hard, harder than it had been in months. My legs were heavy, my timing was off, my confidence shaken. But I pushed through. Every drill, every sprint, every shot. I didn't complain, didn't make excuses, didn't ask for special treatment. I just worked. After practice, I stayed late, shooting free throws in the empty gym, the same way I used to as a kid. 100 shots, then another 100. The repetition was meditative, calming, a way to quiet the noise that still lingered in my head. I heard footsteps, looked up to see Coach standing at the sideline, arms crossed. You always stay this late? He asked. Used to, before everything got complicated. He nodded, grabbed a ball, took a shot from the three-point line. It clanged off the rim. I'm not good at the emotional stuff, he said, chasing down the rebound. Not good at the speeches or the motivational talks. But I know basketball, and I know talent when I see it. I don't feel very talented right now. That's because you're thinking too much. You're playing like you're trying to prove something instead of just playing. Maybe I am trying to prove something. To who? The media? The fans? Your teammates? None of that matters. He passed me the ball. You've got to prove it to yourself, that you can come back from this, that you can be more than the guy who got scammed by his agent. I took a shot. Missed. I don't know if I can. Then figure it out, because this team needs you. Not the guy who signed the $80 million contract, the guy who loves this game enough to fight for it. He left me there with those words, the ball, and the weight of knowing he was right. The first game back was against our biggest rival. National television, sold-out crowd, every eye in the building on me. I was terrified. Not of playing poorly, though that was part of it. I was terrified of being exposed, of proving that I didn't belong, that the contract was a mistake, that I was nothing more than a fraud who'd gotten lucky. But when the ball went up for the opening tip, something clicked. The noise faded. The pressure lifted. It was just me and the game and the instincts I'd spent my whole life developing. I didn't force anything, didn't try to do too much. I just played within the offense, made the right passes, took the open shots, and competed on every possession. We won by 8. I finished with 18 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. Not spectacular, but solid, efficient, the kind of game that helps a team win. After the game, reporters asked the usual questions. How did it feel to be back? What was going through my mind? Did I feel vindicated? I just wanted to help my team win, I said. That's all that matters. Simple, honest, true. The headlines the next day were kinder than they'd been in months. Redemption game. Star player returns with solid performance. From scandal to success, the comeback begins. It wasn't a full redemption, not yet, but it was a start. Over the next few weeks, I found my rhythm. The numbers improved. The confidence returned. The chemistry with my teammates started to build. Slowly, steadily, I stopped being the guy with the scandal and started being just another player trying to help his team win. Terrell became something like a mentor. We'd stay after practice, working on pick-and-roll timing, talking about the game, sharing stories about the league. He didn't treat me like a victim or a project. He treated me like a teammate. You're figuring it out, he said one night as we shot around in the empty gym. Feels like I'm still lost most of the time. That's normal. You went through hell. It doesn't just go away because you had a good game or two. But you're doing the work. That's what matters. I don't know if I'll ever trust people again. He laughed, but not unkindly. You will, just not the same way. You'll be smarter about it, more careful. That's not a bad thing. Feels lonely. It is, but it's better than being surrounded by people who don't give a damn about you. He passed me the ball. You've got people who care. Your mom, me. The guys who've stuck around. Focus on that. The rest will come. I wanted to believe him, and slowly, I started to. One night after a game, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to. Hello? It's me, Vanessa. I hadn't heard from her since she walked out. Part of me had wondered if she'd come back, if she'd see that I was rebuilding and try to slip back into my life. What do you want? I asked, my voice colder than I intended. I wanted to apologize for leaving when things got hard, for not being there when you needed me. You were never there. You were just there for what I could give you. She was quiet for a moment. You're right. I was. And I'm sorry. Why are you calling me now? Because I saw you play last night, and I saw something I didn't see before. You looked happy, like you'd found something you lost. I did. I'm glad. Her voice was soft, almost sad. I'm not calling to ask for anything. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and that I hope you find everything you're looking for. I already have. She hung up. I stood there holding the phone, waiting for the anger or the hurt or the regret to wash over me, but it didn't come. I just felt free. Midway through the season, my mom came to a game. I'd bought her a ticket months ago, back when I thought I was on top of the world, but she'd refused to come. Said she didn't want to be part of the circus, didn't want to see me struggling under the weight of everything. But now she was here, sitting courtside, wearing a jersey with my number on it, smiling like she'd never been prouder. I played the best game of my life that night. 28 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. We won by 15. The crowd was electric, chanting my name, the kind of energy I dreamed about when I was a kid. But the only person I cared about was her. After the game, I found her waiting outside the locker room. She hugged me tight, tears in her eyes. I'm so proud of you, she said. I couldn't have done any of this without you, Mom. Yes, you could have. You just needed to remember who you were. And you did. We went to dinner that night, just the two of us. No cameras, no reporters, no noise, just a mother and her son talking about life and basketball and the future. Are you happy? She asked. I thought about the question. Really thought about it. I'm getting there. It's not perfect. I'm still paying off legal fees, still rebuilding my reputation, still figuring out who I can trust. But I'm playing basketball again, the right way, for the right reasons. So yeah, I'm getting there. That's all I ever wanted for you. I know. She reached across the table, took my hand. I'm proud of the man you've become. Not because of the money or the fame or the stats, but because you faced your mistakes and chose to be better. I squeezed her hand, feeling the weight of those words settle into my chest. Thank you, Mom, for never giving up on me. Never will. We made the playoffs that year. Nobody expected it. We were written off after the rough start, after the scandal, after the chemistry issues. But we found a way. We fought, clawed, scraped our way into the 8th seed and shocked everyone by winning our first-round series. I wasn't the star of the team. I wasn't the hero. I was just one piece of a puzzle that finally fit together. We lost in the second round, a hard-fought 7-game series that came down to the final shot. I took it, a contested three-pointer at the buzzer. It missed. The arena went silent. My heart sank. I stood there, frozen, waiting for the disappointment to crush me. But it didn't. My teammates came over, pulled me up, told me it was okay, that we'd be back next year. And I believed them, because for the first time since signing that contract, I wasn't carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. I was just a basketball player who loved the game and was grateful to be playing it. The off-season was different. I didn't party, didn't chase endorsements, didn't try to live up to the lifestyle I thought I was supposed to have. I went home, spent time with my mom, played pickup games at the old court with kids who still didn't know who I was. I read my contract, all of it, every word, and I hired a new financial advisor, someone independent, someone who didn't have ties to agents or teams or anyone who could manipulate me. I started speaking to young players, warning them about the mistakes I'd made, the dangers of trusting the wrong people, the importance of protecting themselves. It felt good, purposeful, like I was turning my pain into something that could help others. One day, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Marcus. I almost threw it away, but curiosity got the better of me. The letter was short, handwritten, full of apologies and regrets and excuses that didn't mean anything. But the last line stuck with me. "I'm sorry for what I did to you. You deserved better. I hope you find peace." I folded the letter, put it in a drawer, and never looked at it again. Not because I forgave him, I wasn't sure I ever would, but because I didn't need to hold on to the anger anymore. He was in prison, paying for what he'd done. I was free, living the life I'd almost lost. That was enough. The next season started with new energy. I wasn't the highest paid player on the team anymore. They'd restructured my contract, brought in veterans, built a roster that could actually compete. And I was okay with that, because I wasn't trying to be the star. I was trying to be a good teammate, a reliable player, a man who showed up and did his job. We won our division that year, made it to the conference final, lost again. But this time it didn't feel like failure. It felt like progress. After the final game, I stood in the locker room, looking around at the faces of my teammates, the coaches, the staff who'd believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. "Thank you," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "for giving me a second chance, for not giving up on me. I know I made it hard, but I'm grateful, and I'm going to keep working, keep fighting, keep earning my place here." Terrell walked over, put his hand on my shoulder. "You already earned it, kid. Now you just gotta keep being you." I nodded, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace. Years later, I'm still playing. Not for the money, though I'm smart about it now. Not for the fame, though it comes with the territory. I play because I love it. Because it's the one thing that's always made sense, the one thing that's never lied to me. My mom comes to every home game, sits in the same seat, wears the same jersey, smiles the same smile. I bought her a house. A real one, close to the arena, so she doesn't have to travel far. She didn't want it at first, said it was too much, but I told her it wasn't about the money. It was about making up for the time I lost, the mistakes I made, the pain I caused. She cried, and then she said yes. I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes, still struggle with trust, still carry the weight of what happened, but I'm better. I'm learning to forgive myself, to accept that I was young and scared and desperate, and that those things made me vulnerable. I'm learning to surround myself with people who care about me, not what I can give them. I'm learning that success isn't about the size of your contract or the number of headlines you generate. It's about waking up every day and choosing to be better than you were yesterday. And I'm learning that redemption isn't a moment. It's not a game or a season or a headline. It's a lifetime of choices, of working to be the man you want to be instead of the man the world tried to make you. I signed a contract once that nearly destroyed me, but I didn't let it, because I'm more than the money, more than the scandal, more than the mistakes. I'm a basketball player who came from nothing, lost everything, and found himself again. And that's the story I want to tell. Not the one about the contract, but the one about the comeback. The one about the kid who loved basketball enough to fight his way back to it. The one about finding peace in the game and in himself. That's the story that matters. And it's the story I'm still writing. One game at a time.